A Halloween Scare in New Jersey, written by Eric James and illustrated by Marina LeRae. This book invites you to a Halloween scare. Prepare if you dare, a Halloween scare in New Jersey. Prepare if you dare for a tale full of thrills, the time when New Jersey gave everyone chills. A night filled with sights that are best left unseen. You ready? You sure? This was my Halloween. The werewolves howled loudly, the moon shone so bright, I stayed in my bedroom, the curtains shut tight. My heart started pounding, my knees felt so weak, but being a brave kid, I just had to peek. I pulled back the curtains, my mouth opened wide. An army of monsters had gathered outside. They staggered and stumbled and lurched down the streets with bags full of cookies and candy corn treats. Emerging from sewers and houses and stores came creatures and critters with ravenous roars. Then more came along from all over the state. They filled up the streets at a dizzying rate. From Cherry Hill, Hoboken, Harrington Park, the shadowy beasties emerged from the dark. They gathered together for one spooky night to seek out the living and give them a fright. The thunder clapped loudly with terrible booms. The witches dodged lightning and clung to their brooms. The two-headed doggies tried chasing their tails, and banshees let loose with their hideous wails. The vampires hung out on the streets in their gangs and grinned just to show off their pearly white fangs. The mummies moaned loudly and swayed side to side, while Frankenstein stomped about town with his bride. Some troublesome pixies enchanted the plants. Uprooting themselves, they all started to dance. At first it was funny until a plant sneezed, infecting the bushes, the flowers, the trees. The whole garden state was infected in hours with manic, botanical, man-eating flowers. The damage was done and the seeds had been sown for plant life to claim the whole state as its own. The creepies were crawly, the crazies were crazed. The Franklinville zombies had eyes that were glazed. The ogres from Woodstown were ugly as sin, with big bulging noses and warts on their chin. The ghouls danced around but were lacking in soul. The gargoyles could rock and the headless could roll. Although the whole spectacle seemed to spell doom, I foolishly thought I'd be safe in my room. But then something happened that made my heart jump. From somewhere below me I heard a big thump. I froze for a moment as quiet as a mouse, yet I could hear noises inside of the house. I put on my slippers and pulled on my robe. I shook like a leaf, but I don't think it showed. Then slowly but surely I crept down the stairs, preparing myself for the biggest of scares. My hands trembled wildly. I opened the door. I still shudder now at the horrors I saw. The stereo spat out some hideous sounds as dozens of monsters jumped madly around. The sight was horrific. It made my skin crawl. These monsters were having their Halloween ball. And right in the middle one monster loomed tall, the hairiest, scariest monster of all. He turned round and saw me. I fell to my knees. I'm not very tasty, so don't eat me, please. He beamed ear to ear and broke free from the huddle, ran over and gave me a big monster cuddle. At last, last we have found you," he said with a smile. "From Newark to Woolwich we've looked for a while. We came here to give you your wonderful prize." He held up a trophy in front of my eyes. "A prize? And for me?" I replied with a grin. "But what did I enter, and how did I win?" "You've won for first prize for the costume you're wearing. It scares even me, and I'm tip-top at scaring." "This isn't a costume, I'm just dressed as me." "Exactly, the scariest thing you can be. A small human child with a cute button nose. Your teeth are so shiny you've only 10 toes. No hair on your face and no horns on your head. The white of your eyes are not glowing or red. A bone-chilling costume, a horrible sight. A worthy ensemble for Halloween night." We partied together until the moon set, a Halloween night I'll never forget. And next year I won't want to hide in my bed. The monsters won't scare me. I'll scare them instead. The end.